It was late evening. Rain tapped gently on the windows. Inside the apartment, Zara stood near the kitchen sink, her hands shaking slightly as she washed the dishes. The silence between her and Danielle had grown louder over the past few days. Something had changed. The smiles had faded, and the warmth was slowly disappearing. Danielle sat on the sofa, scrolling through his phone, trying to avoid another argument. But Zara couldn't hold it in anymore. "Why don't you ever talk to me?" she asked, her voice cold. "I do," he replied without looking up. "You just don't listen." Zara walked into the living room, drying her hands on a towel. Her eyes were tired, her heart full of questions. "You don't act like you care anymore, Danielle," she said louder this time. "You've changed. You used to be there for me. Now, you're just here but not with me." Danielle looked up. His face was calm, but his eyes held pain. "I'm trying, Zara," he said softly. "I have work stress, family problems, excuses," she snapped. "You know what? At least my ex used to understand me. He knew how to treat me." The moment those words left her mouth, everything stopped. Danielle stared at her. His breath caught in his throat. Zara realized what she had just said. But it was too late. Silence filled the room like a heavy fog. Danielle stood up slowly. He didn't shout. He didn't throw anything. He just picked up his keys from the table. "Danielle," she whispered. "I didn't mean—" But he was already walking toward the door. She ran after him. "Please, wait. I'm sorry." He turned to look at her one last time. His eyes said everything his lips didn't. Without a word, he stepped outside, and, just like that, he was gone. No goodbye. No explanation. Nothing. Zara stood at the door, her body frozen. Thunder rolled in the distance. The rain fell harder now. She sank to the floor, her back against the door, tears running down her face. Why did she say that? Why did she bring up her ex? She loved Danielle. She truly did. But in the heat of anger, she chose the worst words possible. Her phone buzzed. A message? A call from Danielle? No, just a work notification. She called him. The phone rang once, then switched off. She tried again. Same result. She opened his location on her phone. It was turned off. Her heart started to panic. "What have I done?" she whispered to herself. That night felt endless. Zara sat alone on the sofa, staring at the door, hoping he would return. She replayed the moment over and over in her mind. Danielle's face. The shock, the pain, and the silence. She went into their room, looking for something, anything, that would make her feel close to him. She opened the drawer. His wallet was still there, his watch, his perfume. Maybe he just needed space. Maybe he would come back tomorrow. But deep inside, a fear had started to grow. What if he didn't? What if those few angry words had broken something that couldn't be fixed? Morning came, but Danielle didn't. Zara didn't sleep. She kept her phone beside her all night, checking every few minutes. Nothing. She called his best friend. "Have you seen Danielle?" she asked, trying to sound calm. "No," the friend replied. "Is everything okay?" Zara lied. "Yeah, just checking." But it wasn't okay. She was breaking inside. By afternoon, she had messaged his sister, his office colleague, even his barber. Everyone said the same thing. "He didn't tell us anything. We thought he was with you." Zara sat on the edge of the bed, her fingers trembling. She opened the last photo they took together, a selfie from the park just 2 weeks ago. Danielle was smiling. So was she. What changed? How did love turn into silence? That evening, as she lit a candle and placed it by the window, she whispered into the empty room, "Danielle, come home. Please." But there was no answer, only silence and one painful thought in her heart. I lost him because of one sentence. Zara woke up on the sofa. Her neck was stiff and her eyes were red from crying all night. She looked around the quiet apartment. No Daniel. The bed was still untouched. His shoes were gone. His favorite jacket wasn't hanging near the door anymore. He had really left, and he hadn't even said goodbye. Zara reached for her phone again. Still no message. No missed call. Nothing. The silence in the house was heavy. It wasn't just quiet. It felt like something had been stolen. Something important, and that something was Daniel. She made a cup of tea with shaking hands, but she couldn't drink it. Her stomach felt sick. The words she had said yesterday kept replaying in her head. At least my ex used to understand me. Why did she say that? It was a lie. Her ex never understood her. He had hurt her. He had left her broken. But Daniel, he had helped her heal. He had been patient, gentle, and kind. Until now. Now he was the one who was hurt, and she was the one who broke something. Zara picked up her phone and opened Daniel's chat. She typed, "Please talk to me. I'm so sorry." Then she deleted it. She tried again. "Where are you? Are you okay?" Deleted again. What could she say that would fix this? She stared at the empty message box, tears rolling down her face. She finally typed just one word, "Please," and hit send, but there was no blue tick. He hadn't even seen it. The day passed slowly. She didn't eat. She didn't shower. She just sat on the sofa, holding her phone, hoping it would ring. It didn't. Her heart felt heavier with every hour. She tried to distract herself by cleaning the house. When she went into the bedroom, she opened the closet. Half of Daniel's clothes were still there. He hadn't taken everything. Maybe he was coming back. Maybe this was just a pause, not the end. She sat on the edge of the bed and closed her eyes, remembering the first time Daniel had told her he loved her. His voice had been soft. His eyes had been full of truth. And now there was only silence. That night, she couldn't sleep again. She turned off all the lights, hoping he might come home if the apartment looked calm and quiet. She left the door, unlocked. She stayed awake till 3 a.m. No one came. Just the ticking of the wall clock and the silence that screamed louder than any words. The next morning, Zara looked in the mirror. She hardly recognized herself. Her face looked pale. Her eyes were tired. She picked up her phone again. Still nothing. She checked his social media. No new posts, no updates, nothing. It was like he had disappeared from the world. Zara decided to call his office. "Hello, is Daniel there?" she asked, trying to sound normal. "Sorry," the receptionist said. "He didn't come today. Didn't inform us either." Her heart dropped. Daniel was missing from work too? Where had he gone? Why hadn't he told anyone? Had he really left her? Forever? That evening, she sat by the window. The sky turned dark. A storm was coming. She watched the raindrops hit the glass, just like they did on the night he left. Zara whispered, "Please come back, Daniel. I can't do this without you." The door didn't open. The phone didn't ring. The silence answered her once again, and it was louder than any goodbye. The third day began with the same pain. Zara opened her eyes slowly. She was still lying on the sofa, wearing the same clothes from yesterday. The tea on the table was cold and untouched. The house felt even emptier than before. The only sound was the ticking clock. Tick, tick, tick. Each tick felt like a reminder that time was moving on, but without Daniel. She dragged herself to the bedroom. Her body was weak, her heart even weaker. As she began to straighten the bed, something fell from the pillow. A small piece of folded paper. Zara's breath caught in her throat. It was a note, written in Danielle's handwriting. Her fingers shook as she picked it up. She unfolded the paper slowly. Her eyes moved over the words, one line at a time. Zara, I didn't want to leave like this, but I had to. What you said broke something inside me. You don't know how hard I've tried to be enough for you. But maybe I never was. When you compared me to someone from your past, it felt like I lost you. Or maybe I never truly had you. I need time. Don't call. Don't message. I'll return when I can breathe again. Danielle Zara sat down on the bed, the letter clutched in her hand. Her tears started falling again, this time harder. He had written the truth. She had broken him, and now he needed space. Space from her. She hugged the letter close to her chest and cried until her eyes hurt. Later that afternoon, she walked into the kitchen and made tea again. This time, she finished it. The letter had changed something inside her. It was real now. He hadn't disappeared. He had left by choice, because of her words. She walked around the house slowly, looking at everything that reminded her of him. His books, his toothbrush, his slippers by the bed. Everything spoke his name, and yet he wasn't there. Her heart was screaming, but there was no one to hear. Zara sat down on the floor of their bedroom and opened a small box. Inside were photos, memories of them. Their first trip to the mountains, their first Eid together, their first little argument, and how they laughed after. So many memories. And now, just silence. That night, Zara wrote something in her diary. Sometimes the people we love the most are the ones we hurt without meaning to. And sometimes, a joke can become a wound. She closed the diary and placed it near the letter under her pillow. Then, for the first time in 3 nights, she closed her eyes and tried to sleep. But even in her dreams, she was calling out to him and waiting. Zara woke up suddenly. It was still dark outside. Her phone was buzzing beside her. She picked it up quickly, her heart beating fast. One notification, one voice message. From Danielle. She froze. For a few seconds, she couldn't even breathe. Her fingers hovered over the play button. What if it was a goodbye? What if it was worse than silence? But she had to know. She pressed play. His voice came softly through the phone speaker, tired, low, broken. Zara, I didn't plan to send this. I've been walking around for hours not knowing where to go. I'm sitting on a bench now, in front of the lake where we used to go. Zara's eyes widened. That place was special to them. I've been thinking about your words, the way you said them. I know maybe you didn't mean them that way, but they still hurt. I always felt like I was second in your heart, second to a man who made you cry. I tried to be better. I tried to be everything you needed. But that night, when you said those words, something inside me cracked. I wanted to shout, to break something. But I didn't. I just walked away. Zara held her breath. I've been silent because I didn't want to say something I'd regret. But silence can be cruel, too. I don't know if I'm ready to talk face to face. Not yet. But I needed you to know this. I still love you. That hasn't changed, but I need to heal. The voice message ended and left Zara in tears. She replayed the message again and again. Each time Danielle's pain felt clearer. Each time her own guilt grew heavier. But in the middle of all that pain, one thing gave her hope. I still love you. He hadn't stopped loving her. That morning, Zara went to the lake. She sat on the same bench where they had once fed birds together, where he had once held her hand and said, I'll never walk away from you. Now he had, but maybe, not forever. She pulled out her phone and recorded a voice message. Her hands were shaking. Her voice cracked. Danielle, I don't know how to explain how sorry I am. You were never second. You were my home. But I said something stupid, cruel, and I hate myself for it. You don't have to reply. You don't have to forgive me yet. But please know, every day you're gone, I'm realizing how much you meant. I miss you. I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes. She hit send. Then she cried quietly. In the same place they once laughed together. That night, there was no reply. The next day passed, still nothing. Zara felt her hope shaking, but she didn't send another message. She didn't want to pressure him. She knew healing takes time, and maybe love needs space too. Late that evening, as she sat in the living room, her phone buzzed again. A single reply. 2 words. Thank you. That was all. But to Zara, it meant everything. He had listened. He hadn't shut the door completely. There was still a chance. And that small hope lit a soft light inside her dark, broken heart. Zara had started living differently. Not better, not happier, just different. Every day she cleaned the house like he might walk in. Every evening she sat by the window like she might hear his footsteps. Every night she whispered his name in the dark. But he didn't return. Days turned into weeks. She stopped checking her phone every hour. She stopped expecting his voice in the silence. But deep inside, she still hoped. And then, one morning, it happened. It was a Saturday. The sky was cloudy and the wind felt heavy. Zara was watering the small plants on the balcony when she heard the knock. 3 soft knocks. She froze. No one ever knocked like that. Not her friends, not the delivery guy. Only one person used to knock that way. Danielle. Her heart jumped. Her hands started shaking. She walked to the door slowly, like in a dream. She opened it, and there he was, Danielle. Standing in front of her, same face, same eyes. But something was different. His eyes looked tired, older, sad. And beside him stood a little boy. Zara blinked. She looked at the boy. He was about 6 or 7 years old. Quiet. Holding Danielle's hand tightly. Zara opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Danielle spoke first. Zara, can we talk? Zara stepped aside, still speechless. They walked into the living room. The boy sat on the edge of the sofa, eyes wide, looking around. Danielle sat down too, but didn't. Look at Zara right away. She finally found her voice. Who is he? Danielle looked at the boy, then at her. His name is Saad. He's my nephew. Zara's eyes filled with confusion. My sister passed away last week in a car accident, Danielle continued. Saad has no one now. I had to bring him with me. Zara's heart softened as she looked at the boy again. He looked scared, lost, just like she had felt for weeks. I wasn't going to come back yet, Danielle said slowly. I was still trying to figure things out, still hurt. Zara nodded. She didn't interrupt. But when I saw Saad alone, I couldn't leave him behind. And somehow, the only place I thought of, the only person I thought of bringing him to, was you. Zara's eyes filled with tears. You came back, she whispered. Danielle nodded, finally meeting her eyes. I'm not ready to forget everything that happened, but I still love you. And Saad, he needs kindness. He needs peace. And deep inside, I knew you could give that to him. Zara looked at Saad again. He was now playing with the corner of a cushion, quiet and unsure. She slowly walked toward him and knelt in front of him. Hi, Saad, she said softly. Do you like cartoons? He looked at her and nodded carefully. I've got some good ones on the TV. Want to watch together? A small smile appeared on his lips. Okay. Zara helped him sit comfortably and turned on the cartoons. Danielle watched silently. She didn't ask him to stay. She didn't ask him to leave either. She just sat beside Saad, and Danielle sat across from her. For the first time in weeks, the silence didn't hurt. It felt gentle. That night, Danielle and Saad stayed, not because everything was okay, but because something new had started. New chance, a new beginning. And Zara held on to it tightly, because she had learned something very important. Sometimes people return not because the past is fixed, but because the heart still believes in tomorrow. The first few days were strange. Zara tried to smile more. She cooked Danielle's favorite meals, played cartoons for Saad, and kept the house warm and clean. But deep inside, she felt nervous. Danielle was here, but not fully here. He spoke politely. He helped Saad with homework. He even thanked Zara for dinner, but his eyes were distant. There was still a wall between them, a wall made of broken trust, and Zara didn't know how to break it. One night, Zara was washing dishes when she heard quiet voices in the living room. Saad had gone to sleep. Danielle was on the phone. She paused and listened. Yes, I'm still staying here. No, nothing's changed. I'm doing this for Saad, not because things are okay between us. Zara's hands froze under the running water. Her heart dropped. She had known Danielle wasn't ready to forgive her, but hearing those words felt like a cut. Tears filled her eyes, but she stayed quiet. She didn't want him to know she had heard. The next day she acted normal. She smiled, made breakfast, took Saad out to the park. But that night she couldn't hide anymore. When Saad went to sleep, she walked into the living room where Danielle was reading. Can we talk? She asked softly. Danielle nodded. Sure. Zara sat across from him, her voice shaking. I heard you last night. On the phone. Danielle looked up, surprised. I didn't mean to listen, but I did. And I just want to know, are you really only here because of Saad? Danielle stayed silent for a moment. Then he sighed. I came back because Saad needed someone. And because I needed to know if we could still feel like home. Zara's eyes filled with tears. And do we? He looked at her, long and hard. I don't know. That hurt more than any harsh word. Zara stood up and walked toward the window. Rain had started to fall outside. Gentle, steady, sad. She spoke without turning around. I know I hurt you. I know I said something terrible, and maybe we can't go back to how things were, but I still love you, Danielle. Not the version I compared, not the past. You, the man who stood by me in the hardest days, the man who made me believe in love. She turned to face him. Her voice was trembling. If you can't forgive me, I'll understand. But please don't stay here only for Saad. Don't lie to yourself, or to me. For a moment, there was silence. Then Danielle stood up. He walked over to her slowly. His eyes were soft now, and full of emotion. I'm not lying, he said quietly. I'm just scared. Zara looked at him. I don't want to love you and get broken again, he whispered. I left to protect my heart, and now that I'm back, it feels even more fragile. Zara took a deep breath. Then let's not rush. Let's heal slowly. Together. Danielle gave a small, tired smile. I want to believe that's possible. Zara gently reached for his hand. Let's try. One day at a time. He nodded. Outside, the rain continued, but inside, for the first time. They were no longer standing on opposite sides. That night, Daniel didn't sleep on the couch. He didn't return to the bedroom either. He stayed on the floor, near Saad's room, just in case the boy woke up scared. And when Zara came, with a blanket for him, he looked up and whispered, "Thank you, not just for the blanket, but for staying." 1 month passed. Zara could feel the change. Daniel had not said the words she was waiting for, but he was different now. He smiled more. He helped her without asking. Sometimes he even laughed, a soft laugh that used to warm her heart years ago, and every night, when Saad went to sleep, Daniel and Zara would sit quietly. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they didn't. But the silence wasn't heavy anymore. It was peaceful, like two people sitting by the sea, waiting for the sun to rise. Then one evening, something unexpected happened. Zara and Daniel were in the kitchen. She was cooking dinner. He was chopping vegetables. Suddenly, Daniel looked at her and asked, "Do you remember our first fight?" Zara was surprised. "Which one?" she asked, half smiling. "The one where I walked out and came back with roses and ice cream." Zara laughed. "You were trying so hard to make me smile, and you still didn't smile until I said sorry in 5 different ways." They both laughed. For a moment, it felt like old times. Then Daniel's smile faded a little. "I didn't." "Bring flowers this time," he said. Zara turned to him, quiet. "I didn't bring anything. I came back with pain, fear, and a child who lost everything." Zara looked into his eyes. "You brought yourself. That's all I wanted." There was a pause. Then Daniel walked over to her. "I've been thinking about everything. That night, those words, the silence that followed." Zara's heart started beating faster. "I left because I was angry," he continued. "But I stayed away because I was ashamed." "Ashamed?" Zara asked, confused. Daniel nodded. "Ashamed that I let one comment destroy everything we built. Ashamed that I didn't give us a chance to fix it." He held her hands, gently. "I was weak, Zara. Not because of what you said, but because I believed it." Zara's eyes filled with tears. "I never meant it. It was just a stupid, angry moment." "I know," he said softly. "I know now." Daniel took a deep breath. "And now, I want to say something I should have said long ago." Zara's heart stopped. He looked straight into her eyes. "I forgive you, and I still love you." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I love you too," she whispered. They hugged tightly. Not like the first time they hugged. Not like the last time before the fight. This was different. This hug had pain, regret, healing, and love. Real love. That night, after Saad fell asleep, Daniel didn't stay on the floor. He came into their room. He didn't say much. He just laid, down beside her, quietly, and for the first time in months, they both slept in peace. No heavy thoughts, no fear, no more silence. Only warmth, only love. In the morning, Saad ran into the room with his drawing. "I made a family picture," he said proudly. Zara and Daniel sat up and looked. It was a crayon sketch. 3 smiling stick figures holding hands, a man, a woman, and a little boy in the middle. Below it, Saad had written in his own handwriting, "My new happy family." Zara looked at Daniel. He looked at her. They smiled, together.